Hey everyone, I love talking about imagination. In high school, I was small and I struggled with low self esteem. A friend introduced me to a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Many books teach you how to make affirmations and use different techniques to help with your self image. But this was the first book to show me how the techniques worked. I had always, like most boys, used my imagination while playing. I do not remember ever having an imaginary friend, but I did have some great adventures. After reading Psycho-Cybernetics for the second time, I wanted to see if what it taught really worked. I wanted to see if I could teach myself about how electrical systems work. I was tinkering with old motorcycles at this time, and they always needed electrical work. I found a book called Electric for Dummies and thought this was for me. As I read it, I started to make mental videos of the electrons doing their thing as they interacted with condensers and capacitors and diodes and such things. And to this day, I can still see those videos in my mind. After I graduated, I got a job as a laborer on a flower farm right out of high school. The farm was upgrading one of its fields, so I found myself laying drainage pipe. Off in the distance, a heavy equipment operator was running a Caterpillar D9 leveling another field. That thing was the biggest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I would go talk to the operator at lunchtime and ask him questions about running the machine and how I'd go about learning how to run one and such things. Around the same time, my girlfriend, stepfather, was working for a company that was building the city of Cape Coral. It was across the river from my hometown of Fort Myers, Florida. Her stepfather introduced me to the head guy of the company, who offered me a job as an oiler on a dragline. Now that's a dirty job, but you would be able to learn to operate a dragline. Well, I didn't hear from him for a while. Then one day he came over to my girlfriend's house while I was there and said, "Hey, if you want to still learn to run heavy equipment, be at our office at 7 in the morning." I would be trained by the company to run a scraper, or pan as we called them back then. I started having daydreams about running one, and in my mind I developed theories on how things worked and how to load and all the intricacies I could imagine on the machine, how to deal with them. The next morning when I got to the office, my new boss gave me a small booklet on how to run one of these things. I read the booklet, and the booklet was saying word for word things that I had imagined in my mind before even seeing one of these things. That morning, they took me out to the machine. They had a bunch of them lined up in a row, and he says, "Jump up on this thing, sit on the hood. I'll take you for a ride." He took me up to the load site and to the dump site a couple of times, and then he went over and parked, and he said, "Here, run this thing to until noon, and I'll come out and I'll check on you." Well, as it turned out, everybody that ever runs one for the first time gets them stuck, and some guy over and showed me how to get it unstuck, and from that point on I was good to go, and I started doing stuff that other people that were running them for years didn't know how to do, because I had imagined all this stuff ahead of time. Well, from that point on, I realized that your mind power, the imagination that you have in your mind, that little voice inside of you, is very powerful. It can make a good day or a bad day, depending on how you look at things. And you have a choice every day as to whether you're going to look at the good side of things, the positive side, or the negative side of things. It's your choice. And a lot of people make the negative choice. So if any of you have any awesome, memorable stories to share, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks again.